All right, so we're going to do a retrograde tarot spread. November 9th through the 29th, Mercury will be retrograde. And first it will start out in Sagittarius for like the first 9 days. And then it moves into Scorpio. Mercury traversing through Sagittarius is going to be a lot about tuning in to your inner compass. So instead of, giving into that urge to run away or find answers somewhere far off, you're going to turn within. And that's kind of be the focal energy of Mercury through Sagittarius. And then on the 18th, Mercury retrogrades into Scorpio. And this, I feel like, is where shit gets intense during the Mercury retrograde, because Scorpio is rather secretive. So it's going to make it difficult to see the truth here. It's going to be hard to tell fact from fiction. So you might need to set aside what you think you know and focus on reading between the lines. Now, that's just the astrological energy. Let's get into the tarot cards and see what they have to say about this Mercury retrograde. I'm going to start this off for a overall theme or message here using Moonology Oracle cards. So what is the overall energy of this reading that we're about to do for Mercury retrograde? You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. Beneath the surface, don't let pride get in the way with full moon in Leo. So what I'm getting so far from these two is this Mercury retrograde may bring with it, but it will begin with a reality check to the heart. You must be honest about where perfectionism or self-criticism is keeping you small here with this full moon of Virgo. And while the confidence you have in yourself is sacred, your ego is not. So together, these are drawing a line between your self-worth and your self-importance, showing that your real mastery is going to be quiet and grounded and heart-led. I think a lot of this Mercury retrograde energy is going to be helping you declutter the noise, helping you stop nitpicking yourself and returning to a humble confidence. And it's going to really help you shine through from what you've been hiding in the shadow, what you've not been wanting to show of yourself, but in a soft way, so that you're leading with love and not with ego. This retrograde is going to be a lot about refining how you speak to yourself and how you express yourself. You're being retaught the language of self-respect. And this won't come through validation or applause, but more so through your internal alignment. Remembering your worth, but without really needing to prove it. Let's see here. I'm going to lay the positions out for the spread. We're going to look at a card to represent what this retrograde has in store for you. An interruption that this will cause. An important shift that will happen during this time. And then something to be mindful of during this retrograde. Your happiness. And how this retrograde could help you on your karmic path. Oh, I got a jumper. Okay, so the Five of Cups. And then while pulling the jumper off the floor, I noticed I had these two cards as well. Seven of Swords reverse and Nine of Wands. I think this deck wants to be the clarifiers, so we will honor this message as something overall. And we will use the deck to clarify. Nine of Wands in reverse is what's on the bottom of the deck. I'm going to need more space. So let's make a little bit more room here. My desk is only so big. Okay, Nine of Wands, Seven of Swords in reverse. I feel like this is feeling safe enough to come out with something or recognizing something. There's like strength and perseverance in you facing fears or conflicts that you've been avoiding before. And now the Nine of Wands is coming down. The fears are coming down. Four of Swords in reverse beneath that. Two of Cups under that. Okay. Let's start clarifying. So the Three of Pentacles in reverse, this represents what this retrograde has in store for you. There is some accountability, I feel like, in coming to the table with honesty and integrity on your part. Perhaps you're not putting in the same amount of effort into something that really needs your full commitment. And this could be a self-doubt issue, or not fully seeing this connection as something to respond to. What an interesting way to say that. Ace of Swords in reverse, Ace of Cups underneath that. I think this has a way of shifting where I think there's been missing alignment or partnership with other people, and reconnecting you to possibly a relationship from the past with a new sense of passion and creativity. It's like once the sword cuts through the bullshit, there's like this big heart opening beneath the surface. And things that haven't been illuminated about this connection, about this longing for something from your past. And maybe it's not even a person. Maybe it's an old, hobby, or an old career, or an old, situation or dynamic, or even just belief in something. It's like restirring again. This also feels, I'm getting like this sense of burnout with the sun, like the sun is burned too brightly. And it's created a disconnection with your joy and your creative purpose with other people. This could also be like really illuminating misplaced collaboration here. Because Mercury retrograde dismantles like shaky foundations that are built on external approval or over effort and over giving. And so you may feel like very unseen or unappreciated coming into this, or disconnected from your like usual spark, your usual joy. But that's precisely the point here, because the divine is showing you where you've been working for recognition instead of resonance. There's like this energy thread of you working hard but without fulfillment. You're overworking, you're overgiving, and people maybe aren't giving to the same effort. And so there's like this dissatisfaction with that, and things aren't as positive or bright or joyful as they should be with the sun in reverse. And so this is going to allow you to open to revisiting those past passions I was talking about, that reconnection with something or people, to really remember and anchor for you why you started to begin with. Your sense of dimmed optimism in this retrograde transitions and morphs into a reignition of your creativity and your play again. And the mental fog around this, that confusion, right? I said once the sword cuts through the bullshit, or any miscommunications that may come up during this time, will really give way for you to like emotional clarity. So it's like your logic may fail in this, but your heart truth actually is allowed to rise then. It kind of clears these, whatever's been obstructing that connection from your heart to your head. And it closes that gap for you. So false teamwork dynamics around you and mixed with burnout here is in store to be readdressed so that you can rediscover joy through like your simplicity and your sincerity. This Mercury retrograde for you is about rebuilding your foundation on like genuine passion and not like this sense of performance for others to keep things together or to keep the system running or working, right? You remove one cog from this Three of Pentacles and the whole engine falls apart. All right, let's look at an interruption that this retrograde will cause with this Ace of Cups in reverse. The Moon in reverse, there's something being illuminated here. Something I feel like you were conditioned to or brought up to believe, or the society around you, the community around you believes this, so you felt obligated to do that. But this gets interrupted. You realize that that's not your circus, not your monkeys. And then the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and that's when you let go of those old systems or beliefs. Knight of Cups in reverse, Nine of Cups in reverse, the Emperor in reverse, Queen of Wands in reverse. Damn, that's a lot of reversals here. I usually read until we get a change in reversal or upright on the bottom. And this is a lot. So we're capping it off with the Two of Cups, but let's lay the story out here. Knight of Cups in reverse, Nine of Cups in reverse, the Emperor reversed, Queen of Wands reversed, Knight of Wands reversed, the Fool reversed. You hang out over there. And Temperance reversed. I want to see these images. Sorry, I don't mean to be fussy. Okay. This is a long message. I feel like something that you've been pouring your heart and soul into is going to suddenly just like, you're going to wake up and be like, why the fuck am I doing this? I don't even believe in this. This isn't my system. This isn't my goal or my belief. And it'll help you to let go of whatever you held on to in this cup that you thought was so valuable. I think you get to see it's actually been a waste of time. It's caused you a lot of emotional upset and sadness and, lack of fulfillment, disappointment, possibly stemming from like just a severe need to like control everything to the point of burning yourself out. And then your new beginning, every time you leap for this cup, does not come from a balanced and like alchemized place. It comes from things either being too emotional or too passionate, but not like a harmony of the both. And so this interruption is here to restore that harmony or that connection. And this is actually like pretty profound here. So the illusions, the emotional disillusionment is really coming through here. And it's clearing the way for like a real union. One that's built on reliability and steadiness and like showing up every day. There's not this flippant fuckboy energy beneath the surface. And so this is like interrupting false emotional narratives that you've been carrying with you. There's fantasies and attachments and controlled vulnerabilities. So now the heart can like reset to truth in this interruption. These feelings that you've suppressed or idealized will rise to the surface in this. Your emotional confusion becomes exposed here. And you finally see like the projection of what you've been putting out there onto others or onto the environment around you for what it is. there's like rigidity and like belief or a fear of loss that's kind of kept you in this like blocked emotional blocked emotional flow. And the retrograde is going to really pry this open, any kind of like closed fists you've been clenching onto, both spiritually and materially. And this is like a dissolution of the ego structure. Letting your pride get in the way is beneath the surface here, what's hidden. And that's what's dissolving. There's like a disillusionment with like romanticized dreams, or self-soothing illusions, and like power imbalances. And like your pride will be stripped bare here. Your impulsive starts will grow halted, and you'll be forced to like pause and like reevaluate the motives here, because the emotional imbalance here becomes eventual like restoration of that harmony and that mutuality. Perhaps I'm trying to say neutrality. Every archetype here is losing control, so that like a genuine connection can like reemerge from a place of humility and not from ego, like that Leo full moon is talking about. Whatever illusion of emotional certainty that you had going on before this retrograde is about to be like shut down. And whatever you've tried to like manage or fix or perform in love, in your relationships, in what's like truly of the heart important to you, the universe is like hitting a pause on those. So expect like emotional overwhelm and overreactions during this time, or clarity coming, but only after like a bit of a storm here. Things are going to have to get like really mixed up for the things to settle properly as they're supposed to. And the reward here is like a deeper honesty and like a clearer sense of your needs in this situation. And then relationships can be reborn on like real reciprocity rather than projection or pride. I feel like this one needs a crystal. You've got like a heart reboot happening here through humility. So what's an important shift that will happen during this time? And you have the Knight of Swords. I feel like your mind and like what you really want to achieve and where you need to go, it's like, what is that song? I have a song coming through. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Something about all the obstacles in my way. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. That's an older song for sure. It's like something my parents grew up on. But this shift, I feel like, just brings you into like this ability to hyper focus without getting wrapped up into like mental and emotional overwhelm or apathy, even like avoidance. You feel like you're just, you are on target. You are on like, what is this? What is this? Say this again. I am seeing you are the arrow. The universe is the bow. And it is shooting you on such like a straight path. Like you launch forward in some way. It's a fast moving energy as well. So I don't feel like this is going to take too much time. And this helps you walk away from these fears that you've been caged back by. There's that Three of Pentacles again, but this time it's in the upright. There's working, yeah. You begin working because of this shift. You begin working as a collaborator, a co-collaborator with the universe, with destiny, and with faith. I said faith. I meant fate. Okay. Your faith is really important here too. Your spiritual practices are probably coming into focus. Perhaps through your spiritual practices is how you attune to this wheel. It's like these two are working on this wheel together. So there may be a partnership here for you that comes into focus as well. The King of Wands reversed and then the Nine of Swords. Yeah, beneath the surface, this is about you having a hard time putting your creative vision or your passion or your, I want to say mission, putting your mission to action. Like you have dreamt up something beautiful and big and grand, possibly in collaboration with another person. But there's these self-fears and limitations and anxieties about this, about how it's going to unfold, how it might not work out, how it might not come together. There's like this fear of actually taking action on what is inspiring you. And so this shift will help bring you into a place of, removing, walking away from these fears, moving on to like an easier mindset that will allow you to focus. This guy looks like he's on a mission. Maybe a little pissed off, but he's got this like don't fuck with me attitude here, right? And he's just walking off with these swords. And he's walking into a partnership with the divine. This wheel is also giving me this vision of looping. Like you're caught in a dryer on spin, not spin cycle, but like a dryer running a load of laundry, right? You're like the shoe that like bangs around in the dryer as it's going around and around and around. And so there's like this feeling of being trapped in like repetitive thought loops that transitions or shifts for you in this retrograde into taking like swift and like liberating action that will change the trajectory of your path. Your insight or some form of a confrontation is what's going to pierce the paralysis that you're experiencing, and whatever truth that you feared saying finally gets said. This is transforming like hesitation into like courage, and it's coming through a sense of pressure. And I am drawing back to this with this Three of Pentacles in reverse here. These collaborations that fell apart earlier at the beginning of Mercury Retrograde or leading up into it, they will begin to reform, like with better structure and like a mutual respect. Once you speak the truth, destiny starts to turn. The shift isn't like minor, this is karmic. And the moment you stop like censoring yourself, there's like this alignment that resets for you. You're releasing like this overbearing need to like control the outcomes, and fear of losing your authority will kind of give way to like a clarity of purpose, that target I was seeing, that bow and arrow being shot. You've got like an intellectual awakening that's coming through a confrontation. And it's going to force like an honest conversation or like decisive acts that will free you from being paralyzed, from moving forward, that analysis paralysis that kept you from going anywhere or doing anything. Somehow communication becomes like this pivot that breaks fate open in a way. And movement will return once the ego, once the pride loosens its grip. This could be a complete like awakening into how you need to change your direction. Like a path that you hadn't considered before might suddenly come upon you through some type of like a sharp mental breakthrough. And what I'm seeing in my mind is the Ace of Swords is like breaking through like glass. And it's got to be the glass ceiling because it's above the sword. The sword is coming up from underneath. So this is representing a glass ceiling. And that glass ceiling that's kept you contained, it was false. It was bullshit. It wasn't real. So let's look at something to be mindful of during this retrograde. We have the sun. This is your happiness and your optimism. We've got the Two of Swords in reverse, Page of Pentacles in reverse, and the Emperor in reverse. Bottom of the deck, we have Judgment, King of Swords, the Empress. Okay, we got another chain of like up all the same cards. Judgment, King of Swords, the Empress, King of Pentacles, Queen of Swords. Wow. There is some form of awakening with other people. You've got a lot of other people in the mix here. The High Priestess, Seven of Cups, Nine of Swords, Ace of Swords, Ten of Swords. Oh my goodness. Seven of Pentacles. I may need to rethink how I read the bottom of the deck. This is getting like super long. Seven of Pentacles, Ten of Wands. So we've got 2 tens, and then it caps off with Strength in reverse. So this is all about your inner strength and patience, to be compassionate with yourself and understand yourself. All right, let me sit with this for a second. I've got a few things coming through here, and a lot of them at once. The first message I'm getting with the Sun card here is that really be mindful of what brings you joy and happiness. There is no reason to hesitate on following the curiosity or the sparks or the things that really interest you, the things that you want to learn and grow in. With a sense of, I feel like, abandonment, there's like this, the Emperor in reverse I usually read as someone that's like trying to control too much, but here it almost feels like a relaxing, where you don't have to be like this stodgy, like old boss energy that's like super uptight and rigid. There's like almost this relaxing in this, that you can let go and find this sense of freedom in some way. We have the Emperor in reverse and the Empress, divine counterparts, and then we have the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, also counterparts. The King of Pentacles is here as well. So we've got a party of people going on. This might be 3 people around you. That might be why the Three of Pentacles specifically is coming to the forefront. Or there is some type of a energy of 3. Why am I doing this? Why do you want me to do this? I'm stirring something. It's like mixing, merging, blending ingredients of some sort. That might be important for you. I think your clarity will only shine when you stop forcing decisions or proving your authority. Pride or impatience or overmanagement are really going to dim your light. Don't rush to conclusions or power moves here. Be very mindful of that. Relearn that essence of curiosity and humility with this Page of Pentacles. Your higher self is guiding you here in this like chain of cards on the bottom of the deck. We have like a mix here of discernment and compassion and grounded confidence, intuition, perspective, all leading to like a surrender in an essence, a surrender of the ego. So be sure to keep in mind that you are staying open and not dominant. Mind your ego and listen twice before acting. Let the clarity unfold on its own, because this retrograde is going to reward your quiet mastery, not a sense of force. You stay to the attunement and the vibration of what brings you joy and happiness and optimism and The clarity will follow on its own if you don't let your pride get in the way and don't start like self-doubting yourself that you're not enough, or you don't know enough, or you don't have enough to contribute. You know, whatever negative little self-critical thoughts may come in, your own strength and perseverance is being tested here. And it's important not to give up before the opportunities or this shift brings in those ships that need to come in here, the potential and the growth and the expansion. They're like on the way, but you could end up self-sabotaging it if you lean into this Leo ego energy. Okay, we're going to save these two for the end. We have how this retrograde could help on your karmic path with the Five of Cups. The Empress is clarifying this. There's certainly some grief and sadness and some regrets that you need to let go of, because I feel like they're karmically what's keeping you in that dryer cycle of just getting looped and looped and looped in those mental thoughts. Those need to be released and ended confidently through possibly your own creativity. Give me one more. The Knight of Cups. Yeah, and there's this huge heart opening once you can drop out of the mental loop and tap into this confidence of like, I am enough and my cup is here to offer something. What do we got on the bottom? Three of Cups and the Queen of Wands in reverse. I feel like this disconnection here, you've learned coming into this misaligned connections, misaligned relationships, or even connections with certain goals or aspirations that you've had that maybe you're learning they're not all chalked up to what they should have been or what you thought they would be. And so there's been a lot of grief, I think, from that. And that's part of this process of what's coming to illumination, for you to get out of this mental loop of like reliving these past disappointments and regrets. This retrograde helps you karmically teach you how to grieve without completely shutting your heart down. How to like move from an element of loss into creation again. Your sorrow becomes transmuted into self-nurturing, and your pain is what births a new life for you in a sense. And there's this like ending a cycle of victimhood, of just sitting in woes of I should have done this or I shouldn't have done this. And learning that like a release in this doesn't mean failure for you. In this release, you actually get to open again to like a gentle, more heartfelt expression once you can forgive the past, once you can forgive yourself or others from the past. There's like a sense of joy and confidence that gets to return here when you stop comparing your light to other people and you stop ruminating on the woulda, coulda, shoulda's and possibly blaming yourself, being very self-critical of yourself for things that did not work out as you had hoped or had intended, whether they were a fault of your own or another person, or just coincidence, right? Or just like the vibe was off, and so it just never could have worked out. Your karmic gift here is turning heartbreak into wisdom. And Mercury retrograde is going to restore your creative and your emotional sovereignty. In a way, teaching you to lead with love and not regret. All right, let's clarify this What's hidden beneath the surface of this reading? Nine of Wands, Four of Swords, and the Two of Cups. Seven of Cups, Four of Swords, Queen of Wands, Two of Cups in reverse, and then the Queen of Swords. This combination here, immediately I'm hearing there's like bitterness from love lost. This queen has grown cold from being vulnerable in times before and it not being the happily ever after that she had perceived it to be. And so you've built up these extreme like defense systems and have refused to allow yourself to rest and rejuvenate and regenerate mentally, emotionally, and spiritually so that you could open yourself up to love again without being bitter. Coming from like a grounded place of security and not, I feel like, putting so much weight in this, how these relationships didn't work out on yourself or on the other person. I just heard that you are closer to emotional restoration than you realize. But your defenses and your fatigue, they make it hard to see who's genuinely with you and who is not. There's like burnout and overprotection here. That's kind of blurring, I think, your intuition. And there's confusion in connections, like multiple options or narratives are clouding for you what's real and like who's with me, who's against me, who's here to show up as the Three of Pentacles and who's here to just make me do all the work. There needs to be a balance of your passion and discernment with this, of your warmth, but it needs to come with boundaries. Like separations or misunderstandings, they now serve to clarify authentic union later. So I think the hidden truth here is that bonds that survive this retrograde are the ones that are rooted in clarity and not in fantasy. Make sure that you step back and rest and let truth, not your exhaustion, decide who or what stays in your life. I heard we're cleaning clocks. Time is up. People have been wasting your time or projects or commitments that you've somehow bonded yourself to have been wasting your time. And I think this Mercury retrograde, it's going to be very confusing through the retrograde itself, but at the end, the turning point of this is actually clearly seeing what needs to stay and what needs to go. And these two cards, these are important. These are a closing message before we move on to the oracle cards to close out officially. The Nine of Wands with the Seven of Swords reversed. This is resilience through your radical honesty. This is, I think, representing, I'm hearing the revelation emerges after the shift, after this Knight of Swords, and after this, at the end of this retrograde, basically. The truth that comes through that Knight of Swords is your resilience through radical honesty. There's a veil lifting of where you have been deceived or where you've been deceiving yourself. And I think you finally see that, again, who's worth fighting for, and what isn't worth fighting for. Who's worth staying and who's not. You'll be able to, in this shift or after this shift, protect yourself without deceiving yourself. You can learn to stand your ground with transparency and not with like secrecy or strategy, if that's resonating with you. There's like old survival habits here coming up: defensiveness, withholding, maybe overvigilance, and they give way to like a clean, direct truth telling. Honesty will be your armor. And the retrograde exposes like hidden motives, so you can move forward guarded, but guarded by clarity, not by fear, not by suspicion or overthinking. Okay. I am feeling for your closing advice here, the Akashic Records Oracle cards. What is the advice that you could give, Spirit? Final last words, anything to bring more clarity or guidance for those experiencing this Mercury retrograde? Honor yourself. Recognize the hard work you've put in to get where you are today. Instead of thinking how far you still have to go, remind yourself of all that you've accomplished and be proud. This is about growing beneath the surface, subconsciously behind the scenes, growing and understanding. Doing anything requires perseverance. If you don't give up when you encounter setbacks and persist, you will get closer to your goal. Perseverance is the key to success and makes you indomitable in the face of difficulties. Definitely perseverance has come up a bunch here with that Strength in reverse. We've seen the Nine of Wands in reverse. We've seen the Nine of Wands upright. I mean, there's a lot of cards here that are continuing this message of understanding you're in a growth period, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle. This isn't going to be easy. Nobody ever said life was easy. So make sure that you're honoring yourself, recognizing your accomplishments, recognizing you are good enough, and you've done a lot of great work. Don't be too critical and wrapped up in grief or regrets or why didn't I do this? Why didn't I say this kind of energy? You've got some truths coming out, and I think in this retrograde, it's going to be very revealing for you. I mean, this is an intense retrograde, especially when Mercury hits Scorpio. I think that's where a lot of this truth coming out energy is really going to start shifting and becoming more apparent and in your face. All right, well, that's where I'm going to leave it. I wish you the best of luck this retrograde season. I hope to see you on videos I post every Sunday and Thursday. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button. Feel free to give me a comment. Let me know your story and how you're feeling about this. And thank you for watching. I appreciate you.